saying that we will discuss about Accounting Source Explorer. So Accounting Source Explorer, I'll just open another company here. Accounting Source Explorer generally gives a lot of information related to a particular transaction that you have posted. May it be any transaction. So every transaction will have the unique voucher number, right? So Accounting Source Explorer generally brings out all the transactions that you have posted in the system, but with little more information or the more details of the transaction. Suppose here in MRF, I am in General Ledger under Inquiries and Reports. If I click on Accounting Source Explorer here, so it will bring some data. If I click here on main account, and if I again select it, according to this, I mean segment wise, you can select this financial dimension set if you want. So I selected only main account so that the vouchers related to those main accounts will be brought in here. So that's my agenda. So here I can see all the vouchers for the main accounts, different main accounts, not a single main account, for different main accounts. I can see different vouchers posted on different dates. You can filter it, or you can select all of them and extract all these things, and you can bring into an Excel file. Later you can filter it according to your wish, or you can filter it here itself and then export it into an Excel. Okay, until now we have posted only general journal transactions, right? So that is why we see the few details only. Whereas if I run the same in USMF, here we have customer and vendor transactions as well. I'll try to run and show you how different it shows for vendor and customer transactions. So I just clicked here on Accounting Source Explorer. Again, do the same for main account. Okay. So here, see, this one is a invoice voucher, and this one is a purchase voucher, I think so. So here I can see product receipt voucher. I can see the vendor product receipt details. I can see the accounts debits and credited balances. Then I can see the source document, which is a purchase order. Here I can see it's a purchase order transaction. Then I can also see the party number. Actually, party number means the vendor account that we used, and the vendor name you can see here, Acme Office Supplies is the vendor name. For that, we can see that party name also here. If it is a customer, customer name is also shows as party number and party name here. Then I can see other further details. If a product is used, I can see the product number here. 1000 is a product number actually in USMF legal entity. Utilities is a product category. So, and I can see the number of units used each unit, and I can see the product name here, line text. I can see line document reference number and location, site and warehouse number actually. So I can see a lot of details in Accounting Source Explorer. Someone who can prepare reports out of the rough data can use this Accounting Source Explorer, select all the data and export all the data into an Excel file, and then they can prepare whatever reports they want. And they can use Power BI, or they can use Tableau, or in Excel only they can prepare, make tables, lookups as they wish. So every transaction with complete a lot of details will be brought in the Accounting Source Explorer. So the name itself says it explores everything, all the source information. So again, it is a temporary table. If I go back, I have to run this Accounting Source Explorer once again to get the data. Okay, the data once we run here will be saved in a temporary table for some time. If I go back again, and if I have to come back to Accounting Source Explorer once again, here it is empty again. So data will leave. So once I select here, drop down and select the same main account, again data will be brought into this temporary table. In the back end, temporary table. In the front end, I can view the same data here. Once the data comes into table, it shows up here. So I can see by that document number, which means the invoice number, or I can also filter it by the party name, party number, or the vendor or customer number to see the transactions posted for that particular vendor or customer. So I can literally add more fields if I want to. I can add more fields. I'll have this option, personalize grid, and I can add more fields. Use the add a field option. Whatever the fields here we have. Other than that, we also have many more fields which we can add it here in the Accounting Source Explorer. That's the one advantage of Accounting Source Explorer. Other than that, there is nothing unique. I mean, the only uniqueness is that it brings a lot of information, which is useful for someone who can prepare reports easily. I mean, who can prepare their own reports out of the data that brought in by the system. You can also export it from here, actually, this place. So that is with Accounting Source Explorer, guys. Now, nothing to confuse. Only few people or few clients will use Accounting Source Explorer, or some people will try to prepare some reports out of it, or try to prepare some customization out of the data that comes in Accounting Source Explorer. But it is very tough because the data that comes in saves in a temporary table only. So it will not stand up for your customization. So if you take Accounting Source Explorer as the backup for your customization or background for your customization, then it will not work properly because data will come and go from here temporarily. So you can't rely your customization upon a temporary table data. So most of them does not do customizations also with this data. So generally they will export data and make reports however they wish. Then we have one more inquiry called audit trail. Here you can see audit trail. If I click on audit trail, I can see the transactions posted by different people. So in this legal entity, I mean in this particular environment, I am the only one with the name admin that have posted all these transactions. Nobody else posted anything here. So that's why everything is showing on my name. Suppose if I want to check the transactions posted by a user, I can just click here, created by, and select the user name, and I'll see all the transactions that are posted by user. And then I can also see the time and date when the transaction is created and posted. And I can also select one of the transaction and click on voucher transaction. That shows the voucher details as well clearly, which account is debited, which account is credited. So this audit trail is basically helpful for checking who posted which transaction and which date and all. So created by whom and created and post, and the time, date and time can be seen here. Okay, that's the whole purpose of this audit trail. Just to track the transactions that are posted by the name of user and the date and time when they were posted. You can also sort them by date and time if you want. Here always the sorting is available. Filtering is available. So that is with Accounting Source Explorer, audit trail. So the most important of everything, and the one place where every user will go or every manager will go and check, is this one, trial balance, which we left over for discussion. We have went to trial balance page a lot of times and run the trial balance a lot of times, but there are many more things to understand in trial balance. Okay, so this is the one inquiry which is important to understand how the balances are posted, and you can also extract the transactions posted for a single account through this place also. It's pretty much easy as well as convenient. Okay, let us see this one, trial balance. How trial balance inquiry is useful and how many ways we can use trial balance inquiry. So I'll just click here and then I'll go to our legal entity MRF rather than to USMF. So in MRF, I'm in general ledger, inquiries and reports. I'll go for trial balance. Here you can see here. So in trial balance, we have seen already, we can select a date criteria from date to date. You can run the trial balance from any date to any date within the fiscal year. Okay, there is a limitation within the fiscal year. You can't go beyond the fiscal year, or you can't select one date in the other fiscal year and another date in this fiscal year. Okay, within the fiscal year, you can select the trial balance for a single day, 2 days, 5 days, 1 month, 3 months, half yearly, yearly, any day from starting from any date within the fiscal. Create date intervals. Suppose you can just give date intervals from June to July like that. Here you can create June date intervals. So here you can start date interval like periodic intervals or quarterly intervals. You can say quarter one. All the time it takes generate that 31st of March. You can create like that date intervals. It's not compulsory. If you want to do so, you can directly select there, right? So it's a simple way. If you create one, data interval, you can directly select quarter one there rather than giving January. You can give it like so. Normally it asks from period date type. You can say quarter from start date. You can give a start date. So not this is not the start date actually. You can give normal start date if you want. You can give a log to start here. Suppose. You can usually give your start date and end date and create a date interval as you wish, but not most of them will use date intervals. If you want, you can create and use it or work on it if you want to do some research. Okay. Else you can normally give whatever date you want, starting date to end date here in the date range. Then one of the most important is this one, selection of appropriate financial dimension set. So what kind of financial dimension set you want, you can select. So according to the dimension set you have selected, balance will be presented here in the trial balance once after you calculate balances. Okay, we can select a single main account only, so that only main account balances will be shown for each account, and the debit, credit, and that closing opening debit, credit, and the closing balances will show up. Okay, so the layer will always be current layer only, mostly current layer until and unless if they are using any other layers. Tax layer they will use for fixed assets. In some areas they will maintain fixed assets in current layer as well as tax layer. Few people use this operations layer. Other than that, they won't use custom layers on, mostly they don't use. These layers are only for maintaining balances on temporary basis.
So what exactly this layer means actually?
See, I have an account. Okay, I am posting all the transactions in current layer only for now, which means these are the actual transactions that I'm posting. For now, all the balances will be posted in current layer. Okay, the same main account can be used in a different layer. So if I select that layer, there will be a different accounting system there. Same account will be there. The balances that are posted in that not layer again. So that is individual balances again. Okay, just like suppose if you are maintaining one chart of accounts for two different companies, assume that two different companies, one chart of accounts, the transaction that you post in one company are different, the transaction that you post in other company are different, but you use same chart of accounts and same account numbers right here and there, because it's a shared chart of account. In the same way, in within a company you can do it in current layer as well as in other layers. So normally they will do current layer only. Current layer is the actual layer for posting anything, or the actual balances will be in current layer. But you can also maintain a other layer, operations layer or custom layer, where you can maintain different balances as well. You can do anything literally. Suppose if you are doing any transactions today in your one currency, you can do transactions in custom layer in other currency. The same amount but in a different currency. You can maintain like that. Normally we have accounting and reporting for that. If you want any more currencies to wherein you have to maintain accounts, you can post further transactions in those layers. For every journal we will give layer. Most of all the journals that we have created, we have given layer as current layer only. If I would show you, I have to duplicate this tab. So this layer will be everywhere while we are creating any transaction, posting any transaction. System by default pick current layer only. Okay, mostly for fixed assets we will change the layer. So that's a different concept. Why we use different layer in fixed assets? So I'll tell you in the fixed assets class. If I tell you now, you will get confused. Suppose in general ledger we have created journals, right? So in journal setup, journal names, every journal will have current only layer. So here you can see posting layer is current. You can see current layer. So here also it is current. You can change this one layer for this if you want to. By default it will come current. We will use current. So whatever the layer we have in the journal name, system will automatically take that layer for posting such transactions. Okay. So those are not the actual transactions. They are just a representative transactions or dummy transactions to maintain otherwise of accounts. So other than original accounts, if at all we maintain it in a different way, how different our balances could be. So in that way, you can maintain such kind of account transactions in another layer. That's all. Okay, and once I select my criteria here, I mean the financial dimension set and the dates for which I need the balances, I can click on calculate balances here. So if I calculate balances, I can see the account here, account name here, opening balance here, debit balance, credit balance, and closing balance. So why opening balance is zero? For,
We did
for all
not
the accounts,
transfer.
why opening balance is zero? Because we created this company this year only, right?
Yeah, that is what.
This year only. So we don't have any balances from the previous year. So that is why we don't see any opening balances. Suppose if I run the same trial balance for USMF legal entity, let us see if we have any opening balances. So I'm selecting date range from 1st of August to December 31st, 2021. Okay, complete year. Main account only, current layer only. I'll click on calculate balances. Here also for few accounts, I don't have any opening balances, but not at all for actually. I think we don't run the year-end closure here. Largest to smallest also we don't have any. If I run the year-end closure, I'll get the balances from previous year to this year. Normally, I think we did not run the year-end closure year in USMF. That is why I could not see anything. Let me change it to any other company. Okay, I'll change it to this company where I assume that I had done year-end closure once. So fund to 12 of 2022. No. Okay, let's see for 2022. I think I have run the year-end closure for 21, so balances will be transferred to 22 in this legal entity. So balances were transferred from previous year to that particular fiscal year. So you can see for each account how much balance is transferred from last year to this year. Okay, you can only see opening balances for your assets, liabilities, and balance sheet. Only balance sheet accounts only will bring the balances, opening balances. The expense account, revenue accounts, and profit and loss account balances will not be transferred as opening balances to next year. Okay, because they are considered as temporary account. These are the fixed accounts. Balance sheet accounts are always the fixed accounts. So when we run the year-end closure, balances will be transferred only for the balance sheet accounts like assets, liabilities, equities, and other balance sheet accounts. Okay, so here I can see for all balance sheet accounts, 1 series, 2 series, and 3 series, I have balances. For other series, I don't have any. That's one thing. So I'll go back to the topic. Since we don't have any previous year transactions or balances transferred to this year, we don't see any opening balances here in our MRF legal entity. So coming to this section debit, I can see some balances. What does this indicate? Can anybody say what does this indicate?
Expenses.
No, we have debit balance for each and every account. So what does this indicate generally? Okay, let me tell you. This indicates that.
This much.
Yeah. Come on.
This much
Saidi
amount.
or Santosh.
This much.
Yeah.
This much amount we are incurred for this year.
Okay, this much of debit we have posted to this account for this year. Okay, I have selected parameters this year only, right? For this year, I have incurred this much of debit, or I have posted this much of debit for this account. Maybe any transaction. May I have used this account in lot of transactions. Consolidated balance of total debit to this account is this much for the complete year. We have selected criteria as year, right? From starting from 1st of January to 31st of December. So for this year, out of all the transactions, I have debited cash account for this much of consolidated amount, and I have credited cash account for this much of consolidated amount. Then what is this? Guys,
Uh,
what is closing
credit
balance?
Debit and credit.
Correct. So the difference amount of debit and credit system will automatically knock off, right? So the remaining balance in the account is this much. Suppose if I have opening balance also will be added to the debit and to the credit, and I'll see the closing balance. So debit minus credit will be the closing balance, right? So that's it. That's it we have. Here also you can see petty cash account is debited for 200, credited for 400. Closing balance is minus 400, which means credit balance of minus 200, which means credit balance of 200 we have in petty cash account. Right, in the same way, you have to understand what is the opening balance, what is debit, what is credit, and sum of all these three, I mean, sum of these two and subtraction of this credit balance will be this one. So sometimes opening balances can also be negative, right? In this case, 269 is the closing balance here. Suppose if I run the year-end closure for the next year, the same balance will be the opening balance. For 2020, if I run trial balance after running the year-end closure, this balance will be transferred to next year. For cash account, opening balance will show up as minus 269 900. Clear, guys? All of you, this part.
One
Let me
second.
know if
Yes.
so. Shiva,
Sir, last point ఒకసారి చెప్తారు.
closing balance.
Yes.
So closing balance is nothing but the difference between these two. So if debit is high and credit is low, then you will have a positive closing balance. Suppose here you see debit balance is 2500, credit is 0. 2500 minus 0 is 2500 only. So that is the closing balance. Whereas it comes to petty cash account, 200 is the debit we have done for this account, 400 is the credit we have done for this account until now. 200 minus 400 is minus 200 is the closing balance. So whatever the closing balance we have this year, suppose if I run the year-end closure, these balances only will become the opening balances for the next year. For all the balance sheet accounts, only for balance sheet accounts, okay? That's all. Suppose that if I click here, I can see blue color highlighter or hyperlink I can identify here. Suppose if I click on 200 here, I can see what are the balances that are added for this 200. There is only one transaction for the 200 wherein petty cash account is debited. Right, petty cash account is debited for 200 in only one transaction. I can see that here. Voucher number I can see. It's only a reversal voucher. I think we have posted one credit transaction and we have reversed the transaction. Only while reversal we have 200. Yesterday only we have done it, I think so. But we have reversed it for past date. In the same way, if I go back, I can see debit balance for cash account here, right? 14 lakhs 15,300. If I click on this, I can see all the transactions where I have debited my cash account. So these are the few transactions where I have debited my cash account. I can see their voucher numbers, journal numbers. I can see the dates posted. Then I can see the cash account and dimension values being used. Then I can see the total individual transaction balances. One transaction we have used 14 lakhs. Remaining transaction we have used 5,000, 10,200 and 10,100. So all of them consolidatedly will bring this balance here. You know, this balance. 1,14,000. Sorry, 14 lakhs 15,300. The same way we have credit. Suppose if I click on credit balance here, I can see all the places where cash account is created, all the transactions where cash account is created. You can see all minus values here. Cash account is created in these many transactions. You can also see the voucher numbers here and dates here. Same, it will take you to the voucher inquiry for page only. Everywhere it will turn around and take you to that voucher transactions page. Yesterday we have seen this inquiry, right? Voucher transactions. It is the same, but here once I click on that balance, it will only show the balance of cash account, that too the credit balance of cash account and the details regarding those transactions. That's all. If I go back, I can see here. What if I click on closing balance now? Any idea? Any guess?
Both the debit and credit balance will be shown.
Of course, it should show all the transactions, both the debit and credit, whatever we have done for this year, other than opening balance. Everything should show up in the, I mean, opening balance also should show up actually, because closing balance is also sum of opening balance, right? So it will also show the opening balance transaction. If I click on closing balance here, it will show all the transactions that are posted for this account until now in this fiscal year, along with the opening transaction. So these are the both the debits and credits posted. Here I can see plus amounts as well as minus amounts. Both the debit and credit amounts that are posted for this fiscal year I can see here. I mean, for this cash account I can see here the transactions and their details. Clear guys? That is the same for every account. And here I can see debit total, credit total and balance as 0. It will be always 0 because without having proper debit to a credit transaction, system will not allow you, right? Voucher will not be balanced and you can't post a transaction. So every time you post a transaction, you should have same debit value, same credit value. So the balance will anyway be 0. Here this debit total, credit total is a sum of all these accounts. Sum of all these debit balances, sum of all these credit balances. That's all. 43 lakhs we have done until now, or we have used until now for any transaction, suppose on the debit side and the credit side. Generally here, since it is automatic, we don't have any balance, but if you are maintaining your books by hand, then you will definitely have kind of imbalances in trial balance, right? So we have seen it in our graduation or in intermediate, where we have to balance it, trial balance problem or solve a trial balance accounting problem. That comes in intermediate and graduation, I think so, in accounting chapters or in accounting subject. So what all we discussed until now, is it clear for you? I mean, to run the trial balance using the financial dimension set, then tracking the balances, identifying the transactions posted for such balance. Clear guys? All of you, I want acknowledgement from all of you. Okay, perfect. Suppose if I run this trial balance only for 1 month, okay? August 1st to August 31st, only 1 month criteria. Click on calculate balances. Here I see opening balances. How I see opening balance? Anyone?
Month-end closure activities.
So we don't have month-end closure, but without doing month-end closure activities also, we can see balance. Until July 31st, we have this much balance, right? So that will show as opening balance here. So within August month, I have done this many debits, these many credits for my cash account. So the closing balance by the end of August is this much. Clear?
Okay.
So this is the existing balance in the cash account until July 31st. So may it be adding to the previous year balance along with this year 7 months balance until July 31st. Adding up everything, it will be the opening balance for August month. So here I have debit, credit for this month and closing balance of this month. Suppose if I click on debit here, 15,300, I can see all the transactions that are posted within August month. You can see here within August month, and these 4 equals 15,300. Clear guys? Are you missing the logic? Anyone? Shiva?
మిస్సింగ్ కాదులే సార్. ఇప్పుడు సపోజ్ మనం ఒకటే మంత్కి 3 ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ చేయొచ్చా?
ఒకటే మంత్కి 3 ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్
చేయొచ్చా?
ఒక మంత్లో ఎన్ని ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్ అయినా చేసుకోవచ్చు. Frame your question properly actually. So you can do as many transactions as you want in any month. So here in this month we have 4 transactions. What's wrong in this?
No, sir.
That's fine. Frame your question and again ask me, no problem.
Okay.
Guys, anybody have any other doubts in this part until now what we have discussed?
ఒకసారి ఓపెనింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్ క్లోజింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్ ఒకసారి ఇది ఒకసారి మళ్ళీ కొద్దిగా చెప్పండి అబ్బా.
ఓకే, ఓపెనింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్ జనరల్గా ఇయర్ స్టార్టింగ్ నుంచి ఇయర్ ఎండింగ్ దాకా రన్ చేస్తే ఓపెనింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్ ఏమొస్తుంది, ప్రీవియస్ ఇయర్ నుంచి మనం ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ చేసుకున్న బ్యాలెన్సెస్ ఓపెనింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్గా వస్తుంది. లాస్ట్ ఇయర్ December 31st ఏ బ్యాలెన్స్ అయితే ఉందో అదే ఓపెనింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్గా వస్తుంది మనకి ఇయర్ ఎండ్ క్లోజర్ రన్ చేసుకున్నప్పుడు. రన్ చేసుకోకపోయినా వస్తుంది జనరల్గా బ్యాలెన్స్ ఎంత ఉందో అంతా. ఐ మీన్ రన్ చేసుకుంటారు, ఫిజికల్ ఇయర్ ఎండ్ అయితే క్యాలెండర్ అక్కడితో ఆగిపోద్ది కాబట్టి ట్రయల్ బ్యాలెన్స్ ఫిజికల్ ఇయర్ డేట్కే వస్తుంది కాబట్టి రన్ చేసుకుంటారు ఖచ్చితంగా. సో బ్యాలెన్స్ ఓపెనింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్ వస్తుంది ప్రీవియస్ ఇయర్ నుంచి ఇయర్కి ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ అయిన బ్యాలెన్స్. లేదు అకౌంట్స్ అసలు ఈ ఇయరే స్టార్ట్ అని అనుకున్నాం, మన కంపెనీలో ఇయరే స్టార్ట్ అయినాయి కదా అకౌంట్స్, మనం ఈ ఇయర్లోనే క్రియేట్ చేసినాం ఈ కంపెనీ డెమాన్స్ట్రేషన్కి. సో మనకి ప్రీవియస్ ఇయర్ అకౌంటింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్ ఓపెనింగ్ బ్యాలెన్సెస్ ఏమి ఉండవు. నేను ఇక్కడ ఒక మంత్ మధ్యలో రన్ చేస్తున్నా, August 1st నుంచి August 31st ట్రయల్ బ్యాలెన్స్ రన్ చేస్తున్నా. సో ఇక్కడ ఓపెనింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్ ఏం చూపిస్తుంది అంటే ఇప్పటిదాకా ఉన్న బ్యాలెన్స్ ఏదైతే ఉందో July 31st దాకా ఏదైతే ఉందో అది చూపిస్తుంది. ఈ స్టార్టింగ్ డేట్ కంటే ముందు దాకా క్యాష్ అకౌంట్లో ఉన్న బ్యాలెన్స్ ఏదైతే ఉందో కంబైన్డ్ బ్యాలెన్స్ అది చూపిస్తుంది. డెబిట్స్ అండ్ క్రెడిట్స్ కలిపి క్లోజింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్ ఉంటుంది కదా, ఆ క్లోజింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్ ఇక్కడ ఓపెనింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్గా చూపిస్తుంది. సపోజ్ మళ్ళీ చూపిస్తాను నీకు, ఇది January 1st నుంచి July 31st దాకా రన్ చేస్తా. ఈ బ్యాలెన్స్ గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, 10,50,000. ఓకే, January 1st నుంచి July 31st దాకా రన్ చేస్తున్నా ట్రయల్ బ్యాలెన్స్. క్యాష్ అకౌంట్కి బ్యాలెన్స్ గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. ఎంత ఉంది క్లోజింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్? 1,50,000 ఉంది జూలై ఎండింగ్కి. అదే బ్యాలెన్స్ ఓపెనింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్గా చూపిస్తుంది August 1st అంతే. అర్థమైంది బాలా? ఓకే, పర్ఫెక్ట్. దెన్
కానీ అది అంటే మనకి ఈ కొద్దిగా బ్యాలెన్స్ తగ్గినట్టుగా మనకి డెబిట్ అయినట్టుంది కదండి క్లోజింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్ లో.
అదేం లేదు, క్లోజింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్ 1,50,000 ఉంది.
జనవరి లో చూస్తే కనుక మనము
ఓపెనింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్ 1,50,000 ఉంటుంది ఆగస్ట్లో. ఆగస్ట్ మంత్కి చేసిన డెబిట్స్ క్రెడిట్స్ కనిపిస్తాయి ఇక్కడ. ఫస్ట్ జనవరి నుంచి July 31st దాకా చేసిన డెబిట్స్ క్రెడిట్స్ మొత్తం కనిపిస్తున్నాయి అకౌంట్కి. అక్కడ మనం ఆగస్ట్ మంత్ క్రైటీరియానే సెలెక్ట్ చేస్తాం కాబట్టి అక్కడ ఆగస్ట్ మంత్లో చేసిన డెబిట్స్ క్రెడిట్స్ వాటికే కనిపిస్తాయి.
ఒక్కసారి ఆగస్ట్ కూడా బెటర్ ఒకసారి.
యు ఆర్ మిస్సింగ్ ద హోల్ లాజిక్, మిస్ అవ్వకూడదు. ఆగస్ట్ మంత్కి ఫస్ట్కి స్టార్ట్ చేస్తున్నాం, రన్నింగ్ ఇట్ ఫర్ August 31st. క్యాలిక్యులేట్ బ్యాలెన్స్. ఇక్కడ క్లోజింగ్లో ఉన్న 1,50,000 ఇక్కడ ఓపెనింగ్లో వస్తుంది ఆగస్ట్ మంత్కి, ఎందుకంటే July 31st అదే క్లోజింగ్ కాబట్టి 1,50,000 వచ్చింది. ఈ డెబిట్స్ క్రెడిట్స్ ఆగస్ట్ మంత్లోనే చేసాం క్యాష్ అకౌంట్. సో ఈ వీటన్నిటి కాంబినేషన్ ఇక్కడ క్లోజింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్ వస్తుంది. 10,50,000 ప్లస్ 15,000 డెబిట్ మైనస్ 12,10,000 క్రెడిట్. ఈ రెండు ప్లస్ ఇది మైనస్ చేస్తే ఈ బ్యాలెన్స్ వస్తుంది క్లోజింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్. నెక్స్ట్ ఇది ఆగస్ట్ ఎండింగ్కి కదా క్లోజింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్, September 1st రన్ చేస్తే ఇదే వస్తుంది ఓపెనింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్. కావాలంటే September 1st మళ్ళీ రన్ చేద్దాం. 1st September నుంచి September 30th రన్ చేస్తాం. క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేస్తే అక్కడ ఉన్న -14,000 అదే వస్తుంది ఓపెనింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్. -1,44,000 ఏదైతే ఉందో అదే ఓపెనింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్కి వచ్చేస్తుంది అంతే. Got it guys? Any confusion again in this part? Trial balance or tracking the balances? Anyone? You should call names maybe. Saideep, is it clear for you?
No JP. Yeah.
Okay. Saiteja will be on mute. Okay. Shiva.
Sir, yes sir.
Okay, right. So Sheila, Santosh.
Yeah, clear.
Okay. Sairam, Vamshi.
Yes, it is clear.
Okay, so it's very important to understand this logic. Without understanding this, it's tough. Okay, do not go out of logic. So this is one important part I told you, right? So every transaction can be tracked through this place and balances can be tracked through this place. So being a consultant, you should be very clear about how the balances show up when transactions are posted and how we can check the results, because clients need results more. When you configure, okay, if they post transactions, okay, but showing proper results and making them understand how results show up is also very important. So if you want to explain client how trial balance works, you have to understand first how trial balance works. So my point is that you have to clearly understand the logics here, the minute logics as well. Okay, suppose if I run the here the same trial balance for this October month with another dimension set, suppose MRF location plus department set. What happens, guys? Anyone, what happens? It shows balances as per account and dimension combination. So only for cash account without using any dimensions, we have these balances. Okay, we did not do any debit and credit in September month without having any dimension. But cash account along with Hyderabad dimension value, only Hyderabad dimension value without any department, we have done this transaction 50,000. So this is the opening balance for this combination. So cash account with Hyderabad location plus finance department, Hyderabad location plus finance department. I have this much opening balance, some debits and credits and closing balance. So cash account, Hyderabad plus sales and marketing department, I don't have any balances, it's 0. Cash plus Bangalore location, without any department, I can see this many balances. Suppose if I click on credit here, this one credit is 75,000, right, for the month of September for this combination. If I click here, I can see all the transactions for that combination. Here you can see there is only one transaction for cash and Bangalore unit combination. The same way, if I click here for the opening balance here, I can see the previous month balances only for the cash plus Bangalore location combination. I can see all the transactions posted for cash account plus Bangalore location, only cash account plus Bangalore location without any department value. Okay, if you also want department value specifically, see here we have department value, right? Cash plus Bangalore plus finance. If you click here, you can see the transaction that is posted for cash plus Bangalore plus finance. Only one credit transaction for 2000 for this combination we have posted. So the balance for this combination is only 2000. In the same manner, we can check account plus dimension value combination. So whatever the criteria you will select, dimensions, main account plus location plus department selected, right? So main account plus location plus department we can see here. You can also filter however you want. If you want only for Hyderabad location, you can filter it here for 100 value. If you want only finance department, you can filter it with finance department. 200 is the finance department value, right? So here you can see all the transactions that are posted, including finance department. So the remaining all that are left over are excluding finance department. So these are the few accounts that included finance department while they are posted with the account. So suppose if I go for this account, miscellaneous expenses which are posted with finance department, I can click here on 10,000. I can see the transaction. I can see the voucher number. I can see the transaction amount and all details. I can also add more fields if I want. I can just click here on the side here and I can personalize this and I can add more names, who created, date and time and all details, or else I can also normally check it here by audit trail, who posted it, when they posted it. So posted person name will appear here, created person name and date and time will appear here. That's all. You can also see the original document in which journal it was posted. So in journal is this, in allocation journal, actually it was allocated or posted. You can go for view details. It will directly take you to allocation journals where it is posted. So any doubt in this, guys, until here?
No.
Somebody is asking something.
మామూలుగా మనం సెప్టెంబర్ మంత్ సెలెక్ట్ చేసాం కదా,
అవును.
కానీ డెబిట్ లో క్రెడిట్ లో ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ చూపిస్తుంది కదా, అవి లాస్ట్ మంత్ ఈ నెలలో ఎందుకు చూపిస్తుంది?
లాస్ట్ మంత్ చూపించదు కదా, ఖచ్చితంగా లాస్ట్ మంత్ చూపించదు, ఈ మంత్ లో చేసినవే చూపిస్తుంది.
బట్ మనకి ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్ ఉన్నాయి కదా 75,000 అని, అవన్నీ
అవి మనం ఈ మంత్ కే పోస్ట్ చేసాం, అక్రూవల్స్ ఏదో పోస్ట్ చేసాం. ఈ 75,000 చూస్తా ఆ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ క్లిక్ చేస్తా. అది సెప్టెంబర్ 1కి పోస్ట్ చేసాం. నాకు తెలిసి ఇది ఏదో అలొకేషన్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ కానీ ఎక్రూవల్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ కానీ అయి ఉంటుంది. అంటే ఫ్యూచర్ డేట్కి పోస్ట్ చేసాం మనం 1st of Septemberకి. కనిపిస్తుంది కదా ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ డేట్ 1st of September. దీన్ని ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ ఆరిజిన్ క్లిక్ చేస్తే ఓపెన్ అవుతుంది. సారీ, ఒరిజినల్ డాక్యుమెంట్ క్లిక్ చేస్తే ఓపెన్ అవుతుంది.
ఐ థింక్ పీరియాడిక్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ అనుకుంటా.
వ్యూ డీటెయిల్స్ క్లిక్ చేద్దాం. సో ఈ జర్నల్ పోస్ట్ చేసాం. దీన్ని లైన్స్లోకి వెళ్దాం. పీరియాడిక్ జర్నలే అనుకుంటా, రెంట్ ఎక్స్పెన్సెస్ ఏదో తీసుకొని పోస్ట్
పీరియాడిక్ జర్నల్ అనుకుంటా.
మనం ఆ మంత్కి రన్ చేసాం, సెప్టెంబర్ మంత్కి. అదే ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ వచ్చింది అంతే. సో ఈ రెంట్ ఎక్స్పెన్స్ ఇది పక్క రెంట్ హైదరాబాద్, రెంట్ బెంగళూరు, రెంట్ హైదరాబాద్. పీరియాడిక్ జర్నల్ని మూవ్ కాపీ చేసి చేసాం ఇక్కడ అంతే. గాట్ ఇట్ సైదీప్?
యా, థ్యాంక్ యూ జీపీ.
పర్టికులర్గా ఏ మంత్ రన్ చేస్తే ఆ మంత్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్ చూపిస్తుంది, ఆ మంత్ బ్యాలెన్స్ చూపిస్తుంది. కన్ఫర్మ్గా రాంగ్ చూపించదు డైనమిక్స్లో. ఓకే
ఓకే జీపీ.
Perfect then. So I'll go for main account only once again. Okay, I'll run it for complete year so that I can explain you something else. Okay, I'll go for December 31st and calculate balances. Perfect. So here I can see further things also here. For this account I can click on Accounting Source Explorer and it take me to the Accounting Source Explorer where only cash account transactions will show up. We have seen Accounting Source Explorer already, right? So here in this I can only see cash account transactions. So this is the same page, Accounting Source Explorer, but filtered specifically with one account, cash account. The same fields you can see like we have seen previously, Accounting Source Explorer. It's the same. I can go back again to the trial balance. And here if I click on cash account and click on all transactions here, it will show all the transactions that are posted for cash account. So regardless of the date, it will show all the transactions for cash account. Suppose here if I click on all transactions, it shows all the transactions that are posted for cash account until now. That is another option we have in trial balance. You can select any account. Suppose if I select intercompany receivables account, click on all transactions, it shows all transactions posted using that account. Here we have two vouchers. So two vouchers, intercompany journal 1 and 2, 1000 and 1500. Total 2500 here we have. Then I can see fiscal year transactions. Transactions that are posted for this fiscal year for cash account and previous fiscal year I can see separately. Suppose if I click here, fiscal year transactions. So these are the transactions that are posted for this fiscal year. Only one fiscal year we have right here, so I can see only one. Suppose if I go for another company, MST, let me select one account, cash account. Okay, click on fiscal year transactions. So here for 2022 there is only opening balances for that legal entity. We don't have any other balances actually. For cash account we did not do any. These are the only opening balances we have, which is brought from 2021 to 22. So this trial balance is for 22 actually, as you can see here, 22. So this shows balances or transactions for this fiscal year. Here you can see fiscal year transactions. Then so if I go back here again to our trial balance, I can see balance by currency. Here if I click on cash account and click on buy currency, I can see if at all I have done foreign currency transactions also using that account, I can see balances using two currencies. So in US dollar only I have posted all the amount, 2,69,900. That is the only amount you have, and 100% it is posted with US dollar only for cash account. Did we do any foreign transaction previously using any account, if you remember?
No.
Let me check with rent account if at all we have used it, or travel expense or anything. By currency, no, it's completely 4,200. Total balance is in that only. Rent here,
No, we haven't done any foreign currency transaction.
maybe we can do it now quickly if journal. I can create a new journal. I'll select a journal, go for lines. Okay. For today's date, I'll post a transaction quickly using travel expense account. Okay. Travel expense account. So I think I don't have to select anything. There is nothing mandatory, right? But advanced rules are there. We'll see. Travel expenses I'll debit for 5,000. Okay, I am posting 5,000, but I mean offset account I can select. I can select offset account as cash account only. Okay. Here. Blank is not allowed for customer combination. It is saying that customer has to be selected compulsorily. So I'll select one customer one. Okay. This time no error, right? No. So I'm selecting this currency. This currency I'm changing it to from US dollar to I'm changing it to INR. Suppose do we have exchange rate between INR and Euro and INR and US dollar? I assume we have. Okay, save it. So this transaction is for 5,000 INR, 5,000 Indian rupees, but our accounting currency is US dollar, right? So it automatically converted into US dollar. 65.62 US dollar is equal to 5,000 INR. Okay, 5,000 INR is automatically converted into 65.62 US dollar here. Now I can post this transaction. I can see the exchange rate also, INR to US dollar. For every 1 INR, I am getting 0.0131 US dollar. So that is why the 5,000 amount is converted into 65.62. So let me post this. So I posted this amount for cash account as well as travel expense account, right? So we can see that individual balance is there. So it is posted. Now I'll go to trial balance and I'll click on calculate balances once again so that this transaction will also be added. So I clicked here. Now I can see the travel expense account where it is here. So if I click on buy currency, suppose, now you can see total US dollar you have 4,200. In INR you have 5,000. So 5,000 INR means 65.62 US dollar only. Here under amount you will see amount in accounting currency, which is 4,200 US dollar here is equal to 4,200 only, but 5,000 INR is equal to 65.62 US dollar. So US dollar. So out of 100%, INR is covered with 1.54%, US dollar is covered with 98.46%. The same way, if you have transactions in multiple currencies, you can see all the list of transactions here, and the balance is divided according to the currency for each account. Okay. Clear, guys? Any confusion in this? No, if I do the same for cash account, because we have used cash account also, right, in transaction along with travel expenses. So I'll go to cash account here and click on buy currency so that closing balance will show buy currency. 2,69,900 is in US dollar. 5,000 minus credit balance, right? We have created cash account. So that is in INR. So 0.02%. With when I combine total, ratio is 0.02 and the ratio of US dollar is 99.98 in the balance. Clear, guys? This is the total closing balance. 2,69,965.62 minus balance.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, that 65.62 is here. This INR is converted into US dollar 65.62. The remaining is from here. Clear, everyone? So you
Yes,
have to
sir.
understand this. Okay. Then I have by period. Some one option I have here. So if I click on this one, let us see what happens. By period, it will show the balances. So balance by period. For period 0 means it bring opening balance. I told you, right? From previous year, it will bring opening balances. We don't have any opening balances. Period 1, which is from January 1st to January 31st. We know, right? We have created our fiscal calendar. So according to that fiscal calendar, here you see fiscal year 2021, starting from January 1st until 31st of January, I have credit balance and debit balance of this much. I mean credit balance this much, no debits at all. So total balance or the closing balance is 1 lakh. So and then I have the accumulated balance of 1 lakh here. Then I have period wise. So period 2 means month 2, February month, March month, April month, in the same way until December month. So this is the entire closing balance. After completion of all months, we have a closing period, right? So in the closing period, I'll have this. I have one opening, 12 operating and one closing. So in closing period, I have this much. So all guys, any confusion in this now? Anyone? Balances by period. Suppose if I go for fiscal year 2022 in the list, I see 0 balances because we don't have any transactions for 2022 yet, right? So I see 0 balances. Suppose if I go for this company MSD, if I go for period, so for 2022 I have few transactions and few balances. Only for opening I have actually, whereas I can go back to 2021. So if I go back to 2021, I have some balances again. So for every fiscal year, you can check the balances posted for that particular account for different periods. Only for one account, right? So here only for cash account we are seeing the balances for fiscal year 2021. So in this manner, you can see how much cash is created and debited for each period separately. Without running the trial balance inquiry month by month all the time here by using this month by month, you can directly check that here under period. So that's one advantage we have. Okay, then we have this option called cash flow forecast. Actually, I did not work on this cash flow forecast, wherein you have to develop one cash flow forecast using the accounts. So that is one we have. So we'll see this part later. Maybe if at all I get some time, I'll come back to explain you. And there is one more important is this one, columns to display. So up to now you have few columns that are being displayed here. Columns are this ones, right? Opening, debit, credit, and closing. You can also show some additional columns. You have 2 more additional columns here. Include closing period adjustment in balances. Include closing transactions in balances. So suppose if I click these 2 and click on update, system will show 2 more columns here. Closing period adjustment, closing transactions. This closing period adjustments actually we will do in the end of the year when we are running the year end closure. Before to running the year end closure, we can transfer balances from one account to another account. That we will do in closing period adjustment. There is a place called closing sheet. In that closing sheet, we can transfer the balances from one account to another account before we transfer them to the next fiscal year. Okay, adjustment of balances from one account to other account before we run the fiscal year closure, we can do it. So when we have done such kind of things, we will see that closing period adjustments here in this column. Okay, so that kind of adjustments only I can see here. Usually people don't prefer to have these columns here until and unless they want them specifically. So they can hide these 2 columns like this and update. Here I have one more called display segments in separate columns. Whenever I run it with a financial dimension set, I am getting segments in separate columns, right? Department location I'm getting separately. So if I deselect this, all of them will be coming along with the main account itself or accommodated within the single column. And then I have show opening transactions in opening balance column here. If I deselect this, I don't see opening transactions. I don't get opening transactions in this column. Although I'll get balance, but I don't see opening transactions. If I click on that balance, system will not show me because I stopped this. The same way if I disable this one, display segments in separate columns. And if I run this again with the dimension set, suppose here, See here, it is not showing in separate columns. We can't filter it separately. It is now showing in the combination. Account plus dimension values are combined together here. We used to get this dimension value in a separate segment, like here we used to get location, we used to get department, right? But here it's not showing. That is all because of this one, columns to display segments in separate columns. I'll tick mark this and update this. So again, if I run the trial balance now, I can, it is showing up now only. So I'm sorry. I can see them in separate columns here. Location separate, department separate. So that's all, guys. These are the few things we have in trial balance. Literally, you can track anything from trial balance, the transactions for each account, or the transactions by period, by currency, balances by period, by currency, all transactions, and you can also see all the balances for individual periods. You can select from any date to any date and run the inquiry. One great advantage of having trial balance and these many features in Dynamics. So trial balance is one of the very important inquiry for anything. Okay, you can also prepare reports through trial balance, right? So if you extract the balances, you can easily prepare a revenue sheet or expense sheet quickly here using, if you export that, and you can keep it in any format if you want, you can export it to, if you can export it to Excel, and you can make it in any format. Suppose if I want only revenues, I told you, right? I can select it with 4 series. So all the revenue accounts are here. I can select all of them and I can export this into Excel file. Here I can select it and export it. It's very quickly you can prepare a report. Okay. So is it clear for everyone? The options in trial balance? Not anyone will teach you all these options. If I have touched every option that we have. Okay, generally they'll show you how to run trial balance in other institutes or in other coaching points, that we have seen everything. Since this is very important, I have to tell you, because in support or else in implementation also, you got to work a lot on this trial balance. And in the year-end closure process, you have to understand trial balance properly if you have to understand year-end closure process. So here I have exported this Excel file, and I can see all my revenue accounts and along with the dimensions combination and balances. As it is exported into Excel, and I can make any calculations or reports or charts, projections out of this. So that would be all, guys. That would be all for today, guys. Let me know if you have any doubts in this page or any other topics that we have discussed previously other than trial balance. Tomorrow, let us see some important reports. In dimension statement is one important. Posted transactions by journal we have already seen, I think. So transaction origin is one important. Then period end reports, actually we don't run these reports now. Consolidation reports we'll see in consolidation topic. Period end reports we'll see in year end closure topic. Okay. So period end closure. So tomorrow we'll see this dimension statement, ledger transactions list, posted transaction by journal once again. And if time permits, we will discuss about general ledger parameters. This one, the parameters within this, and we can close general ledger by tomorrow. From Monday, we will start cash and bank management. It's a new module. Okay, there are few important parameters here. I'll tell you in tomorrow's class, mostly after discussing that reports. Okay, let's stop this record.